Shalom, and welcome once again to GMS Scouts in the Streets. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, whom I worship. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this word. So this is the latest that came out moments ago. This is dealing with Russia supplying missile systems to Turkey. This is definitely in the prophecies, and it's right on time. So this is from RT News, and the name of this article, or the title of this article, is "Deal to Supply Russian S-400 Missile Systems to Turkey in Final Stages, Exporter." It says a contract, as you can see, that's the missile systems I believe they're speaking of. I'm not sure if these are just, you know, just regular missiles. I don't think this is nuclear. I don't think they have nuclear capabilities on these missiles, or nuclear warheads on them. But still, it says a contract to supply S-400 anti-craft missile system to Turkey is in the final stages, but has not yet been signed or entered into force. The head of Russian defense giant Rosoboronexport said, retracting his previous statement reported by RIA Novosti, or RIA Novosti. It says Turkey purchasing Russian S-400 air defense systems would concern Washington, the Pentagon. The contract to supply Turkey with S-400s is ready, but has not been signed or entered into force. Rosoboronexport Director General Alexei Mikheyev told reporters on Tuesday, adding that the work is still ongoing. Technical issues remain. Earlier, Raya Novosti quoted Mikheyev as saying, the contract has been signed, but it has not entered into force yet. Russia and Turkey have been discussing the contract since November 2016, with top officials from both countries repeatedly confirming that the deal has been agreed upon and arrived at the final decision point. The Russian-made S-400 system is capable of shooting down aircraft at ranges of up to 400 kilometers and ballistic missiles at a range of 60 kilometers. It can engage up to 36 targets simultaneously and can use various missile types for different targets. The Russian army has already received the most sophisticated batch of missiles for the S-400, capable of shooting targets in the nearest space, according to military officials. In June, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that Moscow was ready to supply Ankara with the S-400 system. We discussed the possibility of selling S-400s to Turkey. We are ready for this, Putin said. We are ready to deliver these newest and most efficient systems, President Erdogan and our country's militaries are aware of it. Okay, so that was the article I wanted to read. So now let's go into the scriptures to tie in the prophecy in the Bible. All right. So first of all, let's read the scripture. This is the book of Ezekiel 38 and the first verse. All right. This is a prophecy of the Lord through Ezekiel, and this has not happened yet. Okay. Ezekiel 38 verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against them. Now, if you was to look at an ancient world map, you would see that Magog, where Magog was, It's located where the Russians are today, and those were the Medes. All right, you heard of the Medo-Persian Empire, where well at the beginning of that empire, the Medes, the Medes, those or Madai in the scriptures, they inhabited that land. Now the Russians do. So in today's time, they will be considered, the Russians will be considered or that land will be considered the land of Magog. All right, and it says the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Now I'm gonna get you the maps to show you. But Meshech and Tubal today, if you look in the ancient world map, Meshech and Tubal will be where Turkey is today. All right, that landmass where Turkey is today. And it says, and prophesy against him, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Now that's talking about the Lord returning Russia back to a communist state. All right, back to their communist ways. And as a matter of fact, earlier this morning I read an article, and I read that Russia has paid their debt back to some older Soviet countries that they had owed money to. So now they paid it completely off, and they have quoted Putin as saying that the Soviet Union could have been it didn't have to be destroyed. It could have been like revised or worked with or whatever. So it kind of shows you that, and hopefully, Lord willing, maybe I could find that article, and do a show on that. But kind of show you that that's lingering in the back of Putin's mind to return back to their old ways. Yeah, because they're starting to realize that their old ways were better than uh, what their system they had before was way better than what they got now. Because look, the the whole world has been affected by the West, by the so-called democratic way of life here in America. That has infected the whole world, and people are realizing that this is not a democracy. The word democracy means the people rule, and the people do not rule. In America, the people who rule in America are a small cabal of old, decrepit, so-called Jewish men that have uh, total control of the world's currencies, of the global economy, and they can destroy a nation at will. All right, so Russia has called bullshit many times on the West and different countries that are trying to be like the West. So things are gonna go back to the ancient ways, the ancient world, man. So let's read on. Right, it says, verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And that's talking about the modern day weapons that they have, that the Russians have. Their tanks, their jets, their war vessels, their ships, their warships, and their nuclear arsenal. Okay, and their missile defense systems. And it says, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Yeah, because once they go back to their old communistic ways, what's going to happen? The countries that used to be members of the old Soviet Union are going to go back and become members to the new Soviet Union. Okay, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a whole lot And so they're going to combine their militaries, together as one to fight against the, the so-called Jews that live in the land of Israel, and to fight against the United States military. All right, and them and all their allies. Okay, so Russia and all her allies, and the United States, Israel, and all their allies. That's what the Third World War is all about. All right, and it says, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer, and all. So they're just telling you some of the nations that are going to be with the Russians, the Persians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans. It says all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togarmah, uh, of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee, meaning many people with the Russians, which in the Bible they're known as Magog. It says, verse 7, it says, and this is the point I'm trying to make, it says, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So it says, after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years, meaning these days now, and at the end, the last days, so to speak, during the time when the Lord shall come back to take over, and rule. In the latter years, thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. That's talking about the land of Israel, which is inhabited by a bunch of imposters. These people that are calling themselves Jews, and they're not. They were implanted there. They are the people of the Khazars, or the Khazarian Empire, that go back to the 7th and 8th centuries, that converted to a form of so-called Judaism, or they converted to Judaism, and they call themselves Jews. And you cannot be a Jew by conversion. You have to be a Jew biologically. All right, to be a Jew is not a religion; it's a nationality. And it says, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Now, that's ultimately speaking of the real Israelites, when after World War III, and the Lord destroyed those peoples that are in our land. Afterwards, we're gonna have the nations as our tributaries, as our servants, and they're gonna build up our walls. They're gonna build up our kingdom, and then we're gonna inhabit our land again, and then dwell there safely. But my point was over here, verse 7, Ezekiel 38, verse 7. It says, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So who are they going to be a guard unto? All these nations here. But right now, my focus is on right here. My focus is on this right here. Okay. It says, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. So this is the point, Meshech and Tubal. Now, where it's saying that Magog, today known as the Russians, are going to be a guard unto them, and the other nations that it has listed here. But today, because the article, the emphasis, and the focus is on Turkey, let's go and find out where Meshech and Tubal is on the ancient map. So let's go. I got a map pulled up. All right. And you see, okay, first you see where Turkey is. Turkey, let me see if I can blow this up. Turkey, if you look at it, is, I can't blow this up more than what it is, but Turkey is in between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, and where you see where above where it says Asia, that's all the land of Russia up there. Okay, which is the land of Magog. Now I got another map that probably shows, well, that shows you where ancient, where the Meshech and Tubal were. Let me see. Okay, so now here you go. You see in this map here, I won't be able to blow it up, but if you see this map here, you see Meshech, Tubal, and don't worry. You see how it says Magog? Don't worry. The majority of the people agree that the land of Russia is the land of Magog. Okay, um, but you see Meshech and Tubal, it's right there. As see, in between the Black Sea, and over here in the bottom is the Mediterranean Sea. So that's Turkey. Modern day Meshech and Tubal is Turkey, the land of Turkey today. So in that article, just showing you that Russia is supplying them with a defense system, with weapons, just like the Bible says, to be a guard unto them. And that's one of the ways they are guard unto them, is by supplying them with uh, capable war, with weapons. Okay, with weapons for war. All right, and because the nations are getting ready, they know that there is a last battle that's going to take place. They all know the scriptures. All right, they got priests, they got their imams and priests and all that. They know the scriptures, they know the prophecies, and besides that, they listen to the prophets. They listen to us. All right, those are our biggest fans, man. They watch all our videos to see, what's next, what's about to go down. Okay, so that's just the point I was trying to make, real quick, and yeah, so that's pretty much. Let me see this here. That's pretty much it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Showing you where, showing you that the current events are right on point with the prophecies and vice versa. All right, so they're getting ready. Russia is supplying Turkey with um, with a missile defense system, and it's in the final stages. So they're preparing for war, just like the scriptures say. So with that, once again, this is another show from GMS Guys on the Streets. I'm Elder Soccer Run from the New York camp. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Shai, and shalom to all the camps of GMS out there who are sincere and diligent, and bringing out the word of the Lord in sincerity and in truth. Keep that going. Stick with prophecies, man, because you can never go wrong with that. And besides, that's the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and with that, I'm signing off. Shalom.